Hello, my name is Meg, and this is February's soaps. And February's theme I looked forward to making for a long time. It is Little Women. So I love the book and the movies. My mom let me read her copy of her book, and I reread it all the time for years and years. And we loved the old movie version with Elizabeth Taylor and Margaret O'Brien was some of our favorites. And the one in the 90s came out when I was a teenager, and I went to see that a couple of times in the theater, and I love that one the most, actually, and I rewatch that one every year for Christmas. It feels Christmassy. So, so there are 4 soaps, then there's 4 March sisters. And although all of the sisters did the activity around each soap, I feel like each one represented one of the sisters more. Tonight's soap is sewing, and that one is the one for Meg. I feel like Meg was the sewer of the family who enjoyed it the most. I don't think the other sisters enjoyed it quite as much as her. And I kind of wanted to go in line with the path of the story. The beginning of the book is Meg and Joe getting ready for a Christmas dance, a Christmas ball, and they're trying to find an appropriate dress and gloves and everything for Meg to wear. And she's sewing and fixing things. So that is this one for tonight. And if anyone in now or in the future, if you're a fan of this book or these movies, I would love if you commented and said which sister is your favorite. Most of my life, Joe was my favorite because when I was young, I was a tomboy. Even all the way up until teenage life, I was a tomboy. And I loved to read, like obsessively loved to read and write poetry. In high school, I got into theater and started making costumes and things like that. So she was always my favorite. She was all about freedom, and just my other 2 sisters had kids really young, and I didn't get married yet for a long time. And Joe was my spirit, like who I felt closest to. Then in my 30s, Beth became my hero. I just started to see Beth in a whole new light, and I feel like she's greatly underrated. So she became my new favorite for a long time. And then now in my 40s, another underrated character is Marmee. I feel like Marmee is, if you think about it, all 4 of the sisters, all 4 of their really different personalities are all facets of Marmee's personality. She is adventurous and courageous like Joe. She sees the beauty in the world like Amy. She is compassionate and loving like Beth. And she's the epitome of a good, loving mother like Meg. Cooks, bakes, takes care of her kids. So now she's my new hero. So I'd be curious to know on that. Okay, so into the not so good stuff. I don't know what it was with this month. Sorry to make this camera shake. Everything went wrong. Everything. It was just unbelievable. First of all, it hasn't gotten above 10 degrees here in Wisconsin for going on like 2 months. I've lost count. I don't know. It's so cold at night, it's in the negatives, and then during the day, it's barely positive. Like I said, it's like 10, 15. So I had a really hard time with that. My kitchen is the most draftiest room of the house. The whole downstairs is. This house was built in 1855. It's Victorian. It's, like I said in the summer videos, there's no air conditioning. We do, of course, have heat, but it's very drafty, especially in the kitchen. And you can feel the drafts come through the cabinets. So despite everything I did to try to wrap these up in towels and plastic and all that, 3 out of 4 ended up with the stearic acid marks, which just absolutely broke my heart. I looked forward to these so much, and I felt like they turned out so cute otherwise. And then they all have these little spots. But it can't be helped. It is still soap. They are still cute. They are still going to make you soft when you wash up with them. It was just more of a big bummer for me. And it was a lesson in many ways. I am still learning in this new house how to work around the temperature changes, and I will know better for next year. That's the first lesson. And the second lesson is to stop being a perfectionist when it comes to things I create. How many crafters out there are the same way? I'm not a perfectionist in my life about anything else except the things I create. And it was a lesson in that too. So you have to just laugh it off, because really it's not that drastic. It's just soap. And I hope that you all still find them cute and pretty, because that's what counts to me too. And maybe the spots add to the antique effect that I was going for, right? So my tripod broke, my light broke, my stick blender broke. It all happened in the middle of making these soaps. Like literally the tripod tipped over and broke. So 2 of these videos have missing footage. That's another reason for this long intro, is to tell you that, and I'll explain that when I'm in those videos and I do the voiceovers for them, that there's big chunks missing, and I'm sorry. So it's just one of the how it goes. So anyway, let's get into sewing tonight. I have all my oils and butters melted and mixed with the lye water solution. Last year I had made this soap. It was the sewing soap, and it's gonna be kind of similar in that the little soap dough pieces will be a lot the same, just different colors, and it's gonna be striped, but well, let's just see. Anyway, I better get to it. And I'm going to add the essential oil now. And I actually got this blend for free from Eden's Garden. They had a lot of really great sales at Christmas time. And this one is called Candy Cane Lane. And it is peppermint, balm mint bush, vanilla, spearmint, cinnamon, and wintergreen. I felt like that would be the perfect kind of smell for the March sisters. Probably all the things that they enjoy. It smells really wintry as well too. Okay, so I'm gonna pour off some of this into this bowl. Some of it is going to be uncolored, some of it is going to be pink with rose clay, and some is going to be blue with my beautiful indigo infusion that you see here. I'll link the video where I infused this. This is a several months batches. When I buy indigo, I like to plan it out of the soaps that I'm going to need in the next few months, and that's when I make my infusion, because it pretty much will last me depending on how many I need to make. Well, that looks perfect, just like that. So that will match the little square that's going to go in this as well. So blue is ready. And find one for pink. And some of this off for the pink. And I have my rose clay here mixed with a little bit of some olive oil. And as I've said before, with all the clays, you really want to make sure that you get it just as smooth as you possibly can, blended with oil, so that there's no chunks. The rose clay usually blends pretty nice. Calamine is the hardest as far as trying to incorporate it in. So blue will go on the top more. Let's get the mold. This is already smelling so good and refreshing. I don't smell the other minty notes so far. I smell the peppermint, definitely, and the vanilla. It kind of does really smell like peppermint candy, or like peppermint bark. So I just put a little bit in the bottom of the mold and I'm spreading it out. So now as I was talking about mishaps in this month's soaps, I realized I put in the wrong color of the squares. I should have been putting in the blue. So I had to fish that one out and wipe it off. So now here we go with the blue. So it's definitely thick enough for me to put some of these pieces on the top. The bigger buttons will go on the side tomorrow, but you have little spools of green thread, some little indigo buttons, and little tiny scissors made with purple clay. I even work out the little centers of the hand pieces on the scissors, and I poke little holes with toothpicks in the buttons so that they look as real as possible. I know this is not going to be possible with my gloves because they are a mess, so I'm going to be very careful as usual when I do this. It is never easy to place these things, and then if you give yourself the added stress of the gloves, that doesn't help either, because sometimes all that's going to work is your fingers. You can try tweezers, but in my experience, the tweezers are usually just a disaster. So I'm going to try to read my markings here. And how did I want to do them? Maybe scissors, button, thread in the middle. Yeah, that looks good. Okay. So by the next day, my tripod had already been broken 2 soaps back. So I had this filmed way too close because I was propping my camera up in a mold too close to my hand. So sorry about that. And then halfway through, my light breaks. So you see it shift from a bright light to the natural light. So in light of that, I forgot to film the buttons being put on the side. Sewing and the rest of the Little Women soaps will be available in my next shop update, which is on the full moon on February 16th. Shop links are listed below. Thank you for watching. Take care.